We were just talking about the size of the map, and it's just absolutely monstrous. If you zoom in here, we get kind of a size example here. So if you zoom in, you can see this tiny little area right here. This little dinky spot on the map is this entire area.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a super huge map. They said it's, every map is limited the amount of nodes it's on, so you're not gonna be able to create a node. The nodes are already set, but I don't think you're gonna run out of nodes none too fast. That's for sure.
Well, that's the wonderful thing. If you think there's going to be 103 nodes available, right? But I think there's only going to be 5 castle nodes total on an entire server that are going to be available to anyone. So there's only 5 castles that are going to be spread across this huge, huge map. And it kind of it brings me back to the idea of like World of Warcraft when you were kind of going to explore Thunder Bluff and you got to go see Undercity, things like that if you were playing on the Horde, obviously. And it felt like a journey to get there and a journey to get back. It felt like something real fun and amazing, right? I think we're really going to have that same feeling with this game too when you first get into it, you know?
Yeah, so Trippy, if you could go back to the other picture that shows the actual nodes with so every black dot is considered a node. That's where a city, say a town, can evolve into a city, into a metropolis, and the area that's colored around it is that node's zone of influence.
Yeah, yeah, that's interesting. And with the zone of influence, what happens inside of that, right? It's when you do quests and stuff, it does something for the node, right?
Well, as you're gaining XP for your character, you're also adding XP to level up that node. That so if you start off with, say, a little settlement, it'll the XP you're earning also goes into leveling that up. So it's going to evolve into a town, like a bigger town.
That's
And there's
really
6 levels, and I think the highest level is 6, and right now anyway, and that becomes the metropolis. But all that you do within that node levels that up. So people are going to be, you're going to have guilds, but people are going to be loyal to a node that they're playing for,
yeah.
basically.
And here's some concept art that's on the same page for the nodes. This is what they had kind of an idea of what the metropolis would look like, and for some of the architecture. Oh, that's the other thing. Did you kind of break into the architecture and how that changes with the node?
So as you level it up, like right now they said there's 6 levels. But as you're leveling up, say you're just mining something, say you're just mining ore, that XP you get from that is also going into leveling that up. So, and everybody that's on that node, doing something on that node, any XP gained is also going to level that node up to the next level, whether it be a town or, again, level 6, I think, is the metropolis, the biggest one.
That's cool.
And it's changed the architecture, and I think the architecture is also based on, I don't know if it was the majority of the races of characters.
I think that's yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. It's the amount of sorry, the percentage of the race that contributes the most experience towards the level up of the node. So let's say you have like a 51% Elven sorry, 51% of the players that put experience towards the node being leveled up are elves, then the architecture is going to look like an elven architecture. And an example of the elven would be kind of what's on screen right now. You can kind of see the pointy buildings and the but yeah, it has like the high walls, the fantasy feel to it. You know, it's kind of a neat design, I guess. One of the ones I'm most excited for was the orc one, though. You remember that?
Yeah, it's going to be weird because you could be an orc and a human and pretty much play, I think, on the same node, right? I don't think the race is going to matter at all, right?
Yeah, I don't think that actually matters in terms of what you're doing, but it matters in terms of your architecture for your personal buildings as well. See, this is one of the ones I was looking forward to here.
Say if you create an orc and I create a human, and say Ginger creates a dwarf and Bladar creates an elf, it's not faction based at all. So it doesn't matter that you've created those things. It's from what I understand, it doesn't matter. There's no faction based. So I guess the only loyalty there is maybe to a guild and to a node.
From what I can tell, that seems to be what it is. That they're taking a real, Worm Online and Guild Wars approach to the game, where there's not, one race versus another race, or one faction versus another faction. It's just specifically who you tie yourself with. That's who you go and conquer the world.
Right. Now they did say there will be class specific quests. So say if you go and make yourself an orc, there's certain quests, individual quests that you'll have as an orc um, to level up, but it's still not faction based. So there are individual quest lines for the race, but not factions.
So it's more like more like your storyline is different versus the entire game would be different, right?
Correct.
So
Yeah.
it's you kind of get the same idea. Everybody that's an orc will have the same experience as an orc, but everyone that's a human will also have the same experience as a human. Well, if they play the same time on that server, right?
Right, exactly. Now, what also, as you level those nodes up, so there's 6 levels. As you level those up, it is unlocking different things within that node. So say everybody's, mining and fighting stuff, and all of a sudden we hit that first level. We got a little town that spawns, I guess, on that node, and then NPCs come to your town now, and then now there's quests and say the next level you go, all of a sudden there's going to be new npcs and new monsters that come up. So nodes are going to and those monsters and those npcs are actually specific to that node. So just because your node progressed to say the third town and has this specific npc and this specific monster, 2 nodes over or 5 nodes over might have a completely different monster and completely different NPCs. So it's not like it's the
Yeah,
same thing, just repeated on each node. It's different throughout the whole map, from what I understand.
yeah. So no matter where you go, the game is always going to be different depending on where your nodes are built up and broken down, right?
Right here, they're showing as that dude's fishing on the right, and as this chick over here is fighting stuff on the left, they're gaining XP, and all that XP is going right into that center node, that main city for that node.
Yeah, yeah. See, that's everything that they're doing while they're there is progressing the node itself to level up.
A bridge has been built
They
to
said new
connect the
things are
city to a
happening.
neighboring node.
So yeah, like you
This
see
will
there,
add a potential
a
trade
bridge
route
was
that our
created, and now
caravan
you have
system
an
will take
opening
advantage of,
for a
connecting
trade
two
route to
neighboring
another
nodes
city,
and
another
allowing for
node.
economic prosperity for players to
Exactly, and there's something else that happens as well, I believe.
However, all of this activity has
So it's
triggered
almost
something
like you can
deeper
think
than the
of the
mountain.
zone of influence
All of this
as
civilization
a
has awoken an ancient
a
dragon.
country,
The higher stage the node
and
advances,
the
the
node
more
is the
significant
city, the
events
main
become
city
lost
within
for it
that
in the
country.
system.
Exactly, and then the citizens are the guilds and whatnot. So that's a really good breakdown for it, and I like the fact that when you level something up to a next level, something else unlocks. So you have a raid boss that unlocks after you level this city up from level 4 to level 5. So it's something cool that you can get more loot. You unlock like true progression for the whole server. I think it's a neat
Right,
idea.
and something like that dragon boss that just spawned there, that's something where maybe several cities, surrounding cities or nodes, will want to get together to fight. I think you would have to if it's going to be like, would they say 100, and some things are going to be 500 player. I think.
Yeah, so they're talking about 100 for some of the raid bosses, and I think it was 4 to 500 for the castle sieges at launch, and they're aiming to try and get 1,000 player battles as well. So we're gonna see what happens, but I think the raid content itself, what I'm really hoping that they do with it is they have a lot of more open world kind of things, so that other guilds can maybe come along, maybe take on the guild. So you have to have maybe a branch of your guild that's basically just on defense. So that, while your PVE guys take the raid boss down and get the loot for everyone, you've got 4 or 5, maybe even 6 guys that are knocking people out on the way in, like sapping them if you're a rogue, or freezing them if you're a mage, things like that, just so that you can slow them down so that your guys can finish, so you can get the loot before someone steals it.
Now, Trippy, you know what I'm going to be interested to see? Just how much drama something like that is going to cause between guilds. So, say you've got one guild that has because there's a whole nother system we didn't talk about yet, maybe in the next video, about having a mayor of that particular node or city. Um, say that mayor of that city belongs to one guild, and another guild wants to overthrow him, but that guild gives resistance. That guild may pick up and say, hey, I made an agreement with another node, and we're moving our whole guild to that node. I mean, it could cause some inner guild drama, really.
Definitely, definitely. I think that would be really cool. I think we're going to see a lot of things like you used to see on vanilla World of Warcraft when people were really into it, like where people are going to steal loot and they're gonna leave groups in the middle of a run or something like that just because they got what they wanted. You're going to see people in inside. I don't know if you ever heard of the term insiding a guild, but basically they go in, they get really friendly with the guild promotes them, and then they clean the entire guild bank out, leave, and then go jump in their buddy's guild, and then they have a whole bunch of gear. I mean, these are all things that happened back in the day, and I'm sure they're all things that are going to happen in the future. But I think that the fact that they're even possible in this game are amazing. I think that's so cool. We really have a blank slate here, man.
Yeah, it's definitely different than any MMO I've ever played. Well, from what I'm seeing so far. We'll see next week when we get a little bit of a feel for it.
Well, and the really funny thing is too, I remember when me and you first met each other, we were talking, I think it was off stream and everything, we were talking, and he said, yeah, I really love this Valheim game. I don't think I'll ever go back to an MMO after playing this. And and then you just dropped $500 to get the early access pass to go and play this new MMO.
Well, for me, it's about the camaraderie.
It's one of those things, you get so burnt out on all these crappy MMOs over the years. You're just like, you know what, I'm never playing another one ever again. And then finally something comes along, gives you hope. You actually want to play it, you know?
Yeah, the only reason why I was a little more confident in this game than any other MMOs that come and go or still out there, and they just kind of slowly peter out, and they release some content just to get some players back in. They get that little bit of a spike, they do some microtransactions, they make some more money. This one is not. It's being developed by basically that one guy who is investing in doing this. There's no shareholders, there's no SOE backing it. There's no Blizzard. There's no shareholders for them to answer to. That's why they're taking their time making it and kind of making a game that gamers have wanted to have for years. That's what it seems like to me anyway.
Oh, I know it. What this really feels like, if I'm being honest, this really feels like a guy that got fed up with the industry and he just said, you know what, I'm going to make my own game and this is going to be amazing. And he's not taking shit from anyone. Like, you got to respect that, man. He knows what he wants and he's going to get it, and it's going to be amazing for everybody that plays.
Yeah, I respect the fact that he doesn't have to answer to anybody. It's his game. It's
the fact that he was able to self-fund it is probably what's going to make this probably one of the best games that we've seen in well, at least a decade. I mean, I'm not going to compare this to World of Warcraft expansion packs because this is its whole own new thing, right? I mean, we haven't seen a new MMO that was half decent in how long? Not even one stands out to mind, and from my mind, to be honest. I mean, WildStar was pretty good. They killed that though.
This one's got a lot more, I guess, replay value because things are not the same. Like even if you go across your own server that you're on, I think if you hop to another server, you'd find it'd be a completely different game. Because not all the nodes will develop. So I think that area of influence as it expands, I think that's going to cause other nodes maybe to not even develop. I thought I heard.
Yeah, that's exactly what happens. See, I think the way they're aiming to have this work out basically is you're able to transform the world if you pick like let's say you get a couple of guilds together. Well, now you can start to destroy some of the nodes around the castle node, and then you switch the castle node over, maybe 3 or 4 nodes over. So then you open up new monsters, you open up new raids, you open up new things like that. So every 6 months, basically, you like as players, we cycle through the content in the world that's available to us. So, I mean, replayability, there's definitely going to be lots of that there for sure.
There really is. Right now, it doesn't seem like there's end game content, but not anything that you would necessarily call end game. You just call it higher level, I think.
I mean, some of the raid bosses and things, yeah, I would consider those to be quote unquote end game. But I mean, I would just say they're end game in terms of end of the node. I wouldn't say that they're end game in terms of the last thing that's coming. I mean, there's definitely going to be more coming to this game.
Yeah, I'm excited.
If you guys like that, make sure you like and subscribe and check out the channel. There's going to be more of this kind of content in the future. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.